Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American politics. And it is my supposition that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's 2024 Wicked film serves marginally as a piece of entertainment, but its primary purpose is to explain American politics to American people. Today, I want to look at the Ozians. Who are the Ozians? And what do they represent in American politics today? So the Ozians are three groups. They are the humans from Winky Town. They are the Munchkins from Munchkin Land. And they are the animals that span across Winky Town and Munchkin Land. And then let's talk about the species of each. Okay, so the Winky Town are human. The people from Winky Town are human. A good example of a human from Winky Town is Prince Fior. He is from Winky Town. Okay, and he's a tall, handsome, capable human. Okay, now Munchkinland, Bach Woodman. He is short, very uncapable, very unconfident Munchkin from Munchkinland, all right? But he represents the Munchkins. And then finally, you have the Goat Professor. Sorry, I didn't remember his name. And he represents the awakened animals, okay? So these are animals who can speak, but who are currently under attack by the wizard. The wizard is taking steps to make sure that the animals stop speaking, right, and are unawakened and can be controlled, because they only can then speak to other animals. They can't speak to humans, and they can't speak to munchkins. All right, so let's go ahead and see what American groups are represented here. Who do the Winky Town humans represent? Who do the Munchkins represent in American politics? And who do the awakened animals represent in American politics? All right, so here we go. So I believe that the Ozians represent that the humans from Winky Town represent knowledge workers. So these would be people who work with a keyboard, use math, use prediction models, use a lot of technology, and work sitting down. Okay. The Munchkins, so those are knowledge workers. The Munchkins represent laborers, people who actually work with their hands. They use physical tools to physically change the world. Welders, cleaners, carpenters, lumberjacks, right? Like, people work on oil rigs, actual real laborers, labor workers. They are represented by Munchkins, okay? And then who is the last group? Who does the awakened animals represent? I don't know. I thought about it for a minute, and then I was like, I think they might represent people of faith, because people of faith are being silenced and have to be afraid, and people don't want to hear them, right? But I think Donald Trump's election, you can't say that anymore. We're certainly not silenced. We just got exactly what we wanted. People of faith elected Donald Trump by far. In fact, specifically, evangelical Christians are, I would say, almost solely responsible for the election of Donald Trump. And so that's very important to understand. So the reality is, at this point in time, I don't know who the awakened animals represent. Okay, I am positive that this film is explaining American politics to the American people. The biggest one there, and I think you could, if you had just had this line alone in the film would have still been worth it. But Elphaba explaining that Galinda promised to help someone she didn't know with powers she didn't have, and everyone was impressed. There has never been a better description of the Democrat Party than I have ever heard in my life. Something, they don't know anyone. They don't know what people really need. They don't have any real powers, and yet when they gesture around, the mainstream media does nothing but clap and applaud. And a lot of Americans did nothing but clap and applaud for President Biden putting us in the middle of World War III and raising the price of milk to an unaffordable amount and shattering the American dream for millions of people, right? And they're just like, oh, thank you so much, clap, 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 right? So that is, and so what do we learn about the Ozians from this, right? So this is really interesting. So basically the Ozians, I think, so the humans of Winkytown are knowledge workers who have more power than the Munchkins have, okay? Because they're considered to know more. Now, they do have knowledge, but they don't have wisdom, and they don't have any sense of identity, right? Whereas the Munchkins, they know who they are, and they have wisdom. They don't have knowledge, right? They don't have a ton of knowledge, but they do have basic wisdom. And they also have a sense of self, right? And this is a perfect example of America. Right now, we have a lot of knowledge workers who have a ton of knowledge, have all the knowledge, right? But lack wisdom and lack any self identity, any self-awareness, right? And they're dealing with the labor workers who have very little knowledge, but have wisdom and a strong sense of self-awareness as good, hard, noble workers, right? Labor workers. Whereas I think most knowledge workers are like, am I a good person? I don't know. Like that's very interesting. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more and nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.